20 kilos, which is 44 pounds. And I did most of that through the way I ate. Some of it was to do with movement as well. And so I am 32, turning 33 next year. I'm currently in 2024. So I'm going to put this little series up this month and then take it down for next month, and it's going to go into my food lifestyle course, which is below this. Is also, if you would like to follow my journey, I would love for you to be a part of that, so you can subscribe. And so I am not a fitness professional. It's not my industry. However, I have worked in clinic. I was the kinesiologist, and I also was the practice manager. So I was around massage therapists and people who specifically work with diet and also exercise. So my journey has been, when I was younger, I was very much into yoga and Pilates, and also dance teacher training and just dancing in general. And then I took a bit of a break, I guess. I was going through my own life and trying to get exercise here and there when I wanted to. I wasn't very regimented in it. But actually, when I was working in clinic, I decided I was going to be one of those people who was very dedicated. And for one particular month, I worked out every day for 5 days straight. And it taught me the biggest lesson is that the biggest thing in feeling good in your own body is all about your hormones. So there would be a slightly different advice for a man to a woman, because as a woman, we go through so many hormonal changes regularly. And so what I have found is, for me, that exercise isn't the most important thing for me. I would say movement is much more important than very specific exercises. And so I have found that nutritionally has been the biggest thing for me to change my body. Also, as a woman, I know that there's different body types that people are looking to change. And so for me, I wanted to be really lean and long. And so I'm almost 170 centimeters, which is like almost 5'7", I think. And so my image that I wanted to create was that. So I'm not someone who wants to be in the gym 5 days a week, creating a more masculine body. There's someone that I used to follow, and I've watched her journey of different body types, and it just really ingrains for me that I want the feminine body type. I'm not looking to train my hormones to be more like a man. I also have heard a lot of women in the fitness industry, they lose their periods, they have trouble actually conceiving when they want to conceive, just because we don't have the high amounts of testosterone that men have. And that's why my recommendations for men would be a little bit different. So if we look ancestrally, that's a big word to say, but the men were hunting down and running and using their testosterone, but they were also coming back and would be having long periods of rest. So they weren't necessarily doing that all the time either. Whereas women were more designed to be hunting at be gathering. So they were more walking long distances and socializing and, doing moving their bodies in more gentle, bending down, and those sort of things. So I like to, what I've really noticed is I like to kind of use that knowledge to add that into my life. So I make sure my body is being moved, and I'm fortunate that I have two kids under three, so my body does get moved quite a lot. They're home with me, so I'll be moving all day long. If I'm in the kitchen and I'm using the kettle, I will do some exercises while I'm using the kettle. Also, during pregnancy, it was very important for me to be doing a lot of walking, uh, and also to be using my larger muscles that I would have been using during birth. So I did quite a lot of squatting and gentle exercises using the big muscles that way, and some internal muscles. And coming out of that, I'm very careful postpartum. I don't believe in this getting your body back in 6 weeks. I think that has a lot of detrimental effects to women's bodies. My personal recommendation would be to start walking, and then increasing that. And now that I am personally, what are we, 16 months postpartum, that's when I'm starting to focus in on certain muscle groups and things that I would like to be a lot more toned, and working mostly with diet. And for me personally, I have been really enjoying things that do create the long and lean kind of dancer body. Uh, I find that I visually, I thank you for all those nice comments that I've had there. I also just, when I see someone else, I really like that look. So if you want to be anything else, that's totally up to you. I'm just noticing that our population is getting a lot more chunkier and overweight, and that's being very normalized, which, if that's how you feel really good and loving your life, then I'm all for that, because I have had more weight on, and I was also very lean when I was growing up. I'm just really happy with my body where I'm at now as a more lean person. And I also recently, I went to my husband's work event, and they hadn't really met me before, and the comments I got back was that she is kind, and she is also very petite or small. So thank you very much. I have been really struggling recently with watching a lot of uh, the information out there for women. Like, just, it's okay to be really physically big, as long as you're loving it. But I wonder what the detriments of normalizing being really big are, and the social impact that does have. I've heard that even if a man says that he loves you to be really uh, big and voluptuous, and he's met you that way, that they actually try to hide you in real life. And so that's not my aim. But each to their own, everyone's own experience. This is just me sharing my journey. And I think for a woman, and also for a man, your hormones are the number one thing. So even someone, say, that doesn't drink a lot, as a man, may get quite around the stomach area, quite enlarged, and that's usually like a stress sign that the testosterone is out of whack as well. And like, men need that muscle building to keep their mind and their body healthy. And you can achieve that without too much work, as long as you're actually feeding the muscles. And that's the really big thing for me. I was having a conversation with someone in my family recently who is a male, and he was talking about how different he feels from changing and cleaning up his diet. So I also said in my previous video that it doesn't really matter what type of diet you or the foods that you personally like. I know there's a lot of vegetarians and vegans, and I've been there and I've done that, but I really think making sure that your body has the right amino acid profile to build muscle. I've actually found that I can stay quite lean muscled by the foods that I eat. And so that's what I think is really important, is also if you go and implement, and this is what I've seen as well working in clinic, is that if you go and exercise fast and you go really hard and really heavy, it's not sustainable, and you're more likely to have injury because your muscles don't have the nutrients that they need. And so I've watched people in clinic, especially we worked with a lot of people who already had injuries, and also the aging population. And so the ones that were doing really well were the ones who were implementing the right nutrients at home as well. So that's why I shared that video first. And anyone who's interested, I've also created a course around that due to request from some clients. So I also have that available. And yeah, just making sure that you're getting the right nutrients for your hormones and your body type and your beliefs is really important. So I eat tofu. So yeah, as long as you understand with tofu, like it can be high in protein, it's really important that it's prepared the right way. You know, Asian people have lived on tofu for thousands of years. It's just making sure that it's prepared. And I was having this conversation with someone else recently. I was sitting back in the conversation because I'm not for or against anything specifically. My personal belief is I don't eat gluten and I don't eat sugar. You know, every now there's something sometimes, but those are my main two philosophies. But two people were having this conversation about genetically modified soy, and so for me, it's all making sure that you're choosing the best quality that you can. You understand what it can do to your body, and also like yeah, you know your source that you're getting that from, and it feels good to you. If it feels good to you, do it. I was, like I said, I was vegetarian and vegan, and I just felt really neurotic. I wasn't getting the right nutrients for my specific body type. But you can also, along with the exercise, you can study things like blood type. It can give you some key indicators too. I have the oldest type of blood, so things like gluten and soy just don't work with my body. But it also says for me not to have dairy, and as long as I'm not having gluten, I can have dairy. And so, yeah, those sort of things, understanding that and what I had recently talked about works for me, because I had literally tried everything, and I have been to uni to study nutrition. I found what they taught us was very backwards. And then I've done a lot of study after that. But the exercise for me is a very personal journey, and also finding how you perform the exercise. So any kind of movement is really important, but I find a lot of people give themselves excuses around doing that. So for me, it was always an excuse for me not to move, because I'm just not a I'm not a gym person. I like to do my own thing, get in, get out, and that's how I like to do it. I've also got two kids, so I have to find if I was driving to the gym and trying to find the exact time to go, that wouldn't work for me. So I haven't created that as an excuse. As long as I'm getting, so the particular things that I'm working on in my body now that I am hormonally balanced post giving birth to my children, I can focus on those areas. And as long as I get that in at some point during the day, then I know I've done it. And for me, I've worked out, that's first thing in the morning, when my kids are watching one of their favorite TV programs. Then I'll be doing it. Sometimes I'm doing it in the kitchen, sometimes I'm doing it in their playroom, sometimes I do squats in our bedroom. It depends what I am working towards. I've also been having fun with doing face yoga. I am really about anti-aging, and I don't want to look 32. I want to look a lot younger. So also like those priorities to me are really important. And I'm so fortunate that I have a life where I can make sure that I am focusing on those things. But I also think if you feel shit and you look shit, your life is going to be pretty shit. So I find that if I prioritize those things, then the rest of my life works and I have more mental clarity. But my number one thing would be thinking about, if you're someone who is over exercising, the detriment that that has, and someone who is under exercising, the detriment that that has. They can both make you very tired, they can really throw off your hormones, and also definitely looking at that you're nutritionally feeding yourself, that you're hydrated, that your exercise feels good. And I was also reading something, was I reading it or I heard something about someone whose mental belief is that they can get all the exercise they need in 7 minutes a day. Like, I think we all have 7 minutes a day. And so using that, if you don't have a lot of time working on those big muscles that are really going to serve you long term, because as I also saw in clinic, is that as you age, you really need that lean muscle tone to prevent injuries. And so finding what's right for you. But that's been my experience, is that I did not look at exercise as my number one way to lose 20 kilos, which is 44 pounds. It was movement that I focused on. And now, like, I'm at my ideal, I'm now working on just leaning, lengthening, prevention, also toning specific areas that I am working on. So thank you all for being here. I will be keeping this up until the end of the month, because this month is health and fitness month for me, and that's why I'm sharing it. And so if you'd like to follow along my journey, I'll have a new topic next month. And yeah, I'd love for you to follow along. So thank you for being here.